Hey, this is Dale Callahan. This is Company of One. I'm doing my podcast now through this. I tried this last week. It didn't necessarily work that well. Apparently, poor audio quality. That's probably the setup on my end. We're going to try it better, try it again this time. So, today we're doing podcast episode number 153. Last time we talked about fear and we talked about what generates fear. Today we're going to talk about the big career fair, not the career fair. That's where you go and hand out resumes and network and feel nervous. Now, then we're going to talk about the fears that drive your career. It's funny because no matter where people get in their career, whether they're an entrepreneur, whether they're an executive, or whatever they are, fear seems to dominate what goes on with them. They seem to be driven by fear or driven away from making a decision because of the fear that they have, the decision to move into a new career, the decision to take a new job, the decision to even explore something else that they may wish they could do. So I see this all the time in surprising places. We expect to see this, right? You see a high school student or somebody who has no career experience, no corporate experience, and they're afraid to take a step. We see that. We understand that. All of us are compassionate toward that and maybe want to help those people. But the career issues that are driving the fear aren't just high school people, and they're not the people just entering from the college. They can be from executives, they can be from entrepreneurs, they can be from people as they're moving from one position to another, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And we're frozen oftentimes in fear. We watch these people who jump out and do something entrepreneurial, and a lot of times we have this great admiration for them taking a leap. Even if the leap was stupid, we admire them for doing that, not so much because they're brilliant, but because they took a leap, because they tried something. We're so afraid of trying things, we're caught in a sense of security, right? Which is great. We don't want to be financially stupid, but the security sometimes is often falsely driven. I think about all the corporate people and the number of people I've worked in corporations that will tell me, I don't want to go out and start a company, or I don't want to change jobs because I've got this one job. And I find out later talking to them, they've been laid off two or three times from that same job. It keeps coming and going, and they're struggling in this to keep that job. And what are they doing? They're making decisions based upon a comfort zone. So look at the some of the big giant fears that are driving us oftentimes don't show up as a fear. So we're looking at number one is perfectionism. And this one really gets me in the world of the entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are terrible about this, and especially if you're a technical person as an entrepreneur, it really burns you up because you want to be perfect in everything. You want your products and services to be perfect, which is a joke because they're not going to be perfect, and so you find yourself in a mode of inaction because your stuff is never going to be perfect. Microsoft stuff, Apple stuff with billions of dollars on the table is not perfect, and neither will be yours. But perfectionism is often in caught. We often get caught in that also when we're on a job, right? We want to make a job change. You're afraid of making a mistake. What if I change from one job to another job and it was a mistake? Maybe it will be. Maybe it won't. Maybe in even jobs internally, I'm not really even risking anything because I'm going to do something else in my company. Maybe my salary is not even impacted, but I'm afraid of making a mistake. You know what? If you're so good at your job right now, you're not making any mistakes, then somebody's going to come along and eat you, right? They're going to come along and destroy your career because somebody's going to be willing to step and do what you're doing, and they're willing to make mistakes. They're willing to push the envelope, and you're going to be left behind because you didn't try anything. So if you're not making any mistakes because you're so good at what you do, You should be scared. There is where fear should drive you, because somebody else is going to come along and do that. Perfectionism is a deadly thing, and I know we all. This is what we were so driven by. In school, do everything perfect. Draw into. Keep your pencil in the lines. Draw color in the lines, or whatever that it was we were supposed to do. Obviously, I didn't do it very well, but and all that stuff that we're taught to get good grades and to be perfect, yeah, that's just not the way it really works, right? That's just not the thing. The thing that's related to the perfectionism, though, that gets so many people is they're afraid to make a decision, because what if they choose the wrong path? I see this a lot of times with people coming out of high school and they come into the university and they're saying, what do I do? What if I choose poorly? What if I go into a degree field and choose poorly? Or what if I take a job and don't go to college and miss that opportunity? You know what? There's no wrong choice. There's no wrong choice. I see medical doctors who've been practicing medical doctors leave their doctor field to go do something else that they want to do. I see people in the computer field leave their computer field to go do something like farming. I see people making all kind of bizarre changes in careers, bizarre, from the outsider point of view, because they want to try something new, because they get interested in something. What is it that's stopping us that's from doing these kind of things that we might want to do? We have this concept at the university, especially, that once I get a degree in X, that's all I can ever do in my life. I'm like the stereotype actor. I'm always going to play the villain. I'm always going to play the silly person. No, you get to change here. You may not get to change in Hollywood. I got no idea, but you get to change in a career and do whatever it is you want. There's no wrong path, just taking a path. The third thing that we see in these career issues, and this is just I'm mostly talking about through professional people that we work with. You can decide what professional means, right? But people who make really great livings, people who have professional jobs, skilled jobs. The other one is what we call self-made prisoner. I'm stuck in my job and career because anything. I'm stuck because this is where all my skills, all my college, all my experience has led to this one point, and I'm stuck. I'm invested or vested in this company. I have so much experience and so many relationships, I can't leave. There's the fear of losing it all, the fear of walking away from all the things that you've done, the fear of trying something new. I see this in relationships. The number of girls that you meet in college is teaching at a university. And so I don't deal with a lot of the undergraduates, but when I do, and you see these girls and they're in these relationships with these guys, and I hear this all the time, I'm so invested in him. You're not invested in anything. Dump the joker. Move on. He's a loser. Get rid of him. I don't know what they're invested in. It's like a stock market investment, which, by the way, we don't even do stock investments that way. You don't go by prisoner mentality when you invest in a stock. We won't get into economic theory, but when we invest in a stock, we don't look at how much we may have lost. We look at the opportunity of what we gain by going somewhere else. Let's say I bought a stock years ago. Let's say I've invested in this stock with my money, and it's a dog. It's really just going down. It's not doing anything. Maybe it's losing me money. And there's this mentality of novice investors is to hang on until it recovers. I've got so much invested in this, and it's going to come back one day. And it's just, it's like the people saying, he's going to change, right? No, it's not going to change. It's a dog. Dump it. What you're missing is opportunity cost. Is you're missing the opportunity to take that money. Maybe you only have half of what you started with, but you're missing the opportunity to put that somewhere to grow. The same is true for your career. Is if you're looking to do something different, if there's something inside of you that wants to try something, you're missing the opportunity by hanging on. Now, I'm not saying do something financially stupid, but when you start exploring opportunities and preparing yourself for them, you have all kinds of opportunities. The fourth fear that we see is coming from being overwhelmed. I spend a lot of time talking to people about being overwhelmed. Some of that time I'm talking to the person in the mirror, right? Because we all overwhelmed. We get so much going on that we don't know what decision to make. I can't handle it. I'm not qualified. These are actually quotes that are sent to me by people that are exploring other jobs that they feel like I can't handle it. I'm not qualified for this person. Most of the and I'm hearing this from really smart people, right? I'm just not a right fit. I'm sorry, but I've seen a lot of jobs, maybe short of brain surgery. I don't even know about that. I see a lot of CEOs, for instance, that to me, it's not the hardest job in the world. I see a lot of people who can do those jobs. We make things look really complicated from the outside, right? We do really good. We get our business cards and we put really cool titles on our business cards, and we pump ourselves up and make ourselves look really cool on LinkedIn and do everything like we really know something, right? But really, most of us aren't doing anything that's rocket science or brain surgery. Most of our jobs, somebody else could do. As a matter of fact, most of our jobs, somebody else with a high school education and a little bit of incentive, a little bit of go get them, they could do our jobs, right? There's nothing magical necessarily about what most of us do, no matter how much self-puffery we want to put into it. That's just not true. And when I'm looking at other opportunities, the way we write these job ads, we write them like we're looking for somebody, that's incredible amounts of experience and kinds of things. And most of that's just puffery, right? It's just a way to filter people out. And somebody that's willing to walk in, especially you've got some experience, a lot of times the people that we want to apply for these jobs don't, because they're afraid, right? Because they don't think, they look at the qualifications and they don't think they qualify. I mean, one of the classic ones is experience, 5 or 6 years of experience. You see this all the time, 3 to 5 years experience, especially required. What does that mean? A lot of times that's not even true because who wrote that ad in the first place? But we're overwhelmed by indecision and all the different things going out there. And then the one that's become very aware after I posted the podcast last week, even with the poor audio, people were sometimes they were just reading the notes, I think, and they were saying all kinds of things, but basically they're afraid of fear, right? We're afraid of the fear. We're afraid that when we do something new, we're going to be afraid doing it, right? It's like stepping onto the roller coaster, which I'm not going to do because I acknowledge my fear and of gravity, right? But you have these things because you want to do them, and you have this fear that once you get into them, you're going to be afraid. I want to take this new position, but I'm going to be afraid when I get there. I want to do this thing, start this company. I'm going to be afraid when I get there. So there's the desire that you want to do it. I have no desire to ride on a roller coaster. If I did, then that would be that fear I need to overcome. And because you're going to be afraid in everything, right? There's all those times you're going to be afraid of messing up, of not doing it right, of not being able to perform, of how you look, and all these kind of things going on. So all the comments that I got from you last week, I'm trying to put time and pressure, remember what week it is, but last week and over the last week about the fear issue, there's a lot of indecision, and it's great because I've had lots of great conversations with many of you because of the issue of fear. And it's kind of like people are coming out of the woodwork and saying, yeah, that really speaks to me. That fear issue speaks to me. You know, it speaks to all of us. It's the truth. We do fear, but we're not having to go across the ocean like people did many years ago and move into a land that nobody occupied, right? And try to survive. We may get shipwrecked. You know, when you look at what came over to the United States in particular, years and years ago, or explorers, that's some real fear. If you look at what's going on, especially in the United States or these big industrialized countries, how much opportunity is there? There's incredible opportunity. The fears we have are usually more inside of us than coming from outside. Like if I'm walking through the jungle and there's a tiger coming, that fear is external. That fear is real. That fear will eat you. But that's not really what's going on. What the fears that are driving most of us are not external, they're internal. They're things we can handle. What if I don't have enough cushion financially? You can fix that. You can prepare for that. What if I don't market myself very well in my new entrepreneurial activity? You can fix that. You're in control of that. What if I don't have enough skills once I get into the new job? You can fix that. I mean, most of these things you can handle. We are in this great opportunity because you can do anything. I mean, we see people doing bizarre things. It's not a day goes by that I'm not shocked by how somebody is making a living and making a really good living, better than those that we put out of the university, right? There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there doing things. But even then, there's a lot of people in corporate America doing amazing things. There's just tremendous opportunity out there for us to go and do things, for us to make an impact. And if we're letting fear hold us back from that, we're holding all the gifts that we have to provide for others, we're holding them back. And we're not sharing them with the world. And the world needs your stuff. So hopefully you think about that, and we'll be seeing you next week.